Now, you wouldn't necessarily put Romania on the map of whiskey producers, but that's where it belongs now after the country's largest spirits and wine producer, Alexandrian Group, recently introduced the nation's first single malt whiskey, Carpathian. The whiskey was a brainchild of Alexandrian Group's founder and chairman, Nawaf Salameh. Naturally, Nawaf did need some help from people with long experience in whiskey, and the man to assist was master distiller Alan Anderson, who relocated from Scotland to Romania for this project. To find out more about the story, I was joined in the studio by Alan, Carpathian Whiskey's global brand ambassador Colin Levering, and the founder himself, Nawaf Salameh, who started by explaining how the idea to create Romania's first own single malt whiskey was born.
It's a great dream to see after 20 years working, and the idea started 1999 when I meet my best friend. He passed away, Max. I asked him, how can I enjoy this category of the drinks? He told me, look after the family-owned business, look after the boutique products, not the commercial product. So I take his advice. Later on, I was on Dubai and discussing some business. Some serious gentleman asked me, do you know somebody in Romania selling good quality of barley? He told me, you don't. I said, why? He told me, you don't know, in Romania they have the best quality of, good quality of barley, and we use it for, like food for our horse. It's very expensive, in golf they are used to have expensive horse. I parked the idea in my mind, I park it back. Later on, I think next 2004, 2005, if I remember, gentleman from Scotland called me and asked me to take over of his business in Romania. They are not happy what they are doing. I thought I will do it, but with one condition. I want to work just in the category of the single malt. Single malt, what? I said, look, I believe the single malt, it is the status of the category of the whiskey, okay? You have many types of the whiskeys. You have blended, you have Canadian, you have American, you have any type of whiskey. But for me, the single malt category is the status of the category of the whiskey. He used to export to Romania 700 cases. And was all the market around 10,000 liters, nothing of drink of single malt. So I end up in 2016, they invite me in Scotland. They said me, now it's time we will make you keep your face wet, because you was right. At that time, Romania became around to try to sell 100,000 cases of that 700 per year. They said, no, it's too much. Let's keep Romania around 40,000. That is number, not more, because we don't have quantity. They have to serve all the world. So I said, okay. So they told me, you are right. It's status. You managed to create a country consumption of the single malt. And today Romania is close to 1 million liters of single malt category.
So now, if you've been kind of in charge of creating Romania's first single malt whiskey, I'm wondering, why did no one do it before you?
This big question, Even myself, when 2016, after become keeper quake, I said, now is the time to forward and to start to production of the single malt, okay? So you are right, because a lot of people in Romania, I live in Romania last 4 years, in September I will be 40 years living in Romania. Ask me, you are right, Romania need to have, it's must to have single malt. I said, guys, the barley was there thousands of years. The Carpathian Mountain is there. The water is there. The weather, everything is there. Personally, usually I like to do the impossible possible.
Alan, you are the master distiller over here, so I'm wondering two questions actually at the same time. First of all, had you ever done anything like this before, gone to a country that didn't have history in whiskey like this, to go and create something? And secondly, what does it actually take when you go to another country? You need great water. What else do you need?
So the first question, after 20 years of working in Scotland, I moved to Ireland, set up a couple of distilleries there, Slane Distillery and the Great Northern in Dundalk for John Teeling. So that was really at the time when Irish whiskey was in its revival period. There wasn't many distillers, so basically I've took these skills and transferred them to Romania. So what do you need? You need good barley, you need good water, you need skilled people, and you put them all together and you have a consistently good product. So these are the key elements that make Carpathian what it is.
Nawaf and Alan, did you have many discussions about what kind of a product you wanted to create, what the flavours would be and what the customer experience would be when people go and buy that bottle and taste it for the first time?
What happened when we started 2017 production, 1 year later, we bought a very nice and big, around 300 hectares of vineyard, very famous. So we said, let's start to go and do finishing after wine. We started, Alan, let's see the wine, let's see the cognac, let's see that. We end up, try both of us. We end up to have 7 type of whiskey. And we said we will continue to reach the number 100. So collecting around the world, wine, cask from Chianti, Barolo, from France, from Spain, from Greece, from Cyprus, from everywhere. From Romania, especially from Romania. And we end up to be, that is our business, doing very good tasting whiskey. Our whiskey tastes very nice.
What is the definition of a good tasting whiskey in this case?
Sweet, fruity.
Exactly.
Has to smell nice and then taste nice. So there's a different taste for everybody in the Carpathian range. But going back to your last question, what we have is very unique. We can take casks from the winery that have just been dumped, so they're very fresh. They're not treated with any sulfates or even washed, and they're transferred to the distillery, and we transfer from bourbon casks to the finishing cask within a week.
How much does the climate matter in this case? I'm wondering, when you've been working in Scotland, for example, was it different in Romania?
It's warmer. Typically it's about 5 degrees average, higher temperatures. It's drier. It's less humid, so it accelerates the maturation process, and there's a better interaction with the wood because it's a higher temperature, basically. But the losses in maturation are higher.
Okay, the next question, that we're also joined in the studio by Colin, who is the global brand ambassador. I don't know who is the best person to answer this question, but I'm wondering, when you've been thinking about how to introduce these products and how to tell about it to customers, what role does the origin play in this case? How important is it that it's Romanian, and do you want to explain that story, that is where it comes from?
It's an important point you make, and I think our experiences so far telling the story behind the product has really helped people to sort of understand and to feel the passion that the Alexandrian Group has in this. It's one product in a wide range, a big portfolio. But I think that's important. And I think for people, and the interesting experience for us is that the classical sort of whiskey drinkers are really sort of enjoying it because they can see that Alan has maintained the traditions and respect of whiskey making, but this finishing seems to be this sort of special part of it. And what it's doing is that people who have always wanted to drink whiskey but have not even tried, because like smoking a cigarette, so no, I'm going to cough, it's going to hurt my throat, it's going to hurt my nose. That even today at lunch we had a beautiful little old lady who took a drink for the first time, and she said, I've never drank whiskey before, and this is wonderful. So I think that is the key for us going forward, is bringing a very, very high quality product, but bringing the story along with it. And that helps because it's unique. It's made in Romania, the first single malt whiskey ever to be made in that country. That story is so important for us, for people to appreciate when they drink it. And to finish off, I think everybody's expectation then is reasonably high. The reality so far has always been much, much higher. So that's the approach, and that's the way I think we can really enter the market and complement and respect the existing whiskey market at the same time.
Exactly, and you are taking those steps now to enter new markets. And obviously one thing people think about, and one thing that is kind of a part of that brand, is also the price, how much this bottle costs. So what kind of discussions did you have about that, and how did you decide the price?
The price we have double-checked doing Fox Group in a few countries, US, UK, France and Romania. And all of them, they was agreed to be between 70 to 100 euro, dollar or pound, We end up to choose a 80 euro shelf price with VAT included. That will be our price. 80 pound, 80 euro, $80.
And as I mentioned, you are taking these steps to actually make these bottles more widely available. At the moment, it's easiest to get hold of them by going online.
Exactly.
But you also have plans to actually find partners from different countries.
Yes, we are here already. We have partners, a very serious partner. Worked with them many years back. But now it's time we are going to open our operational, not doing the distribution directly. We will continue to work with a very nice company. Already we know them to sell them our goods. And we are look after a very nice and boutique liquor shops to put our products. Other way, we maybe will open a liquor shops here, like we have done in Brazil, in Greece, in Romania, Cyprus. So it is possibilities to have done, but we are going to have operational office and people here in UK.
What is happening with Carpathian now in terms of product development? Any other plans, anything new?
We're developing, there's 37 different whiskies, 17 of which are finishes, but we have a range of casks, as now I've said, from all corners of Europe. We also have a peated whisky that's just came on, it's 3 years old, probably needs another couple of years maturation, but that'll appeal to people who like smoky peated whiskies like Lefroy. We're expanding the distillery, so we're putting in new pot stills which are a classic design, so that will improve the quality even further. But we've got new ideas coming constantly.
Now, if you are the man who's been having these visions, for example, creating Romania's first single malt whiskey, I'm wondering what kind of other plans do you have for the future, or other dreams even? What can we expect from you next?
I'm afraid because my wife, she said to one day they will take me out from the house. Look, we have big plan to invest a big distillery, the largest, number 4, I think, in US, New York, upstate of New York. Already a few years ago, we bought a big piece of land, very nice area. So there we will build our distillery, doing whiskey. We'll do the American types, single malt, and the rye whiskey of New York. But we will use the Irish method. Here in Romania, we use Scottish method. There will be triple distillation. We are planning to build also a huge distillery also in north of Greece. And if you know the city named Kavala, close to Saloniki, there we are going to build also big distillery. So that is our plan. So going around the world and doing national, international products.
Amazing.
So not traditional, international. This is my concept in the life, is I will go in each country with my respect, doing a national product to become international. So whiskey is Romanian, but it is an international product, okay? I'm not trying to tell guys stop to drink that drinks and take this traditional product. So I am promoting national, international. My dream in each country to have home. To have home, that means to have immediately business, the trading company, liquor shops, and if makes sense to have distillery, I will do it. This is my target, and that we work.
Amazing. Congratulations and good luck with all that work.
Thank you very much. And not to forget, we are looking also about in Scotland, with Alan looking after, because we have 4 brands from Scotland, look to also to set up our distillery to be for our home, because Scotland is our home. So to have there also our distillery, he will look after how to see either to buy, either to build a new distillery also in Scotland.
Do you think this could work the other way around, by the way, as well, considering that we are talking about something that comes from Romania now? So do you think there would be a chance for international players to actually go and launch more businesses in Romania now, considering that what Alan was saying earlier, that it was a great place to create something like this? You have the talent over there, you have the water over there, everything.
Exactly what I said, Alan, before. It's perfect. People tell me I am the Christopher Columbus of discovering Romania is perfect country for doing whiskey. Mm-hmm. So it is not just, okay, but because really was there thousands of years and nobody have the courage. I have it. I do it. And I will do in other countries, It is perfect part of the world to do whiskey. Look today, if you look what happened with Japanese whiskey. Become so rare, so expensive, People ask me if you can help us, Look what happened with the Taiwanese. What happened with Indian whiskey. So it is, world is open. And the category of single malt, I see it like what happened with the gin category. If you remember a few years ago, was just London. Today is thousands of gin globally. Thousands of gin. I think the single malt is coming, will be a global product. And big increasing. Last year, it was in consumption in US. First time happened, 2 million cases of single malt whiskey.
Nawaf Salameh, founder of Alexandrian Group, there with master distiller Alan Anderson and global brand ambassador Colin Levering. They are the men behind Romania's first single malt whiskey, Carpathian.